Hey guys, and welcome to Campus Geek. I'm one of your hosts, Justin Vitiz.
And I'm Scott Husley,
our other host. There you go. And today our guest that we have with us is Jordan Wright, who is an entertainment editor for the East Texan, correct?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks for being here. We're going to talk about some games here in our first segment. Coming up first, we have Dead Space 3. We've got a trailer to roll for you guys, so check it out. Blood and gore. Intense violence. Audio in there. All right, we have some technical difficulties apparently with that trailer. There was no audio, but the visuals are pretty awesome. Clearly, it's a CG trailer, not a in-game gameplay trailer.
Kind of looked lifelike, to be honest.
Lifelike?
Yeah. As far as the characters, once it got to the crazy stuff, then
The crazy
obviously
stuff,
not
like
lifelike.
That's
like the
anything.
necrolift thing.
Yeah.
What's that called?
What?
The
Necromorph, isn't it?
no. The monolith, the obelisk structure. There's a name for that. Well, if Alex was here, he would know.
Yeah. Why is this rolling off my head? Marker. That's
The marker. There it is.
Marker.
The marker. All right. So, how do you feel about Dead Space games in general? First of all.
Well, it's funny. I've stepped into playing a lot more games of any genre as I've gotten more into reviewing. But survival horror was never my go-to genre of choice. But Dead Space has always fascinated me, in that it seems to be, and I'm curious to check out this new game, especially with their real focus on action-heavy content, because it seems to be in this new crop of games that is really focusing more on action than what we would traditionally consider horror elements. But I've always respected the Dead Space franchise, if nothing else, and I'm definitely looking forward to giving this one a shot. Maybe even writing a review on it.
Have you played any of the other two?
Haven't played the previous ones. I've seen bits and pieces of the others, and there's definitely an element to the atmosphere that I find very fascinating.
Absolutely. See, I played the first two quite a bit.
Right.
And the only thing I'm worried about with Dead Space 3 is if they go a little bit more action-y, it's going to take away from, honestly, what sold those games to begin with.
Like Dead Space 1 was so claustrophobic. You were on this tiny little ship and your camera was always right here and everything was terrifying. Dead Space 2, they kind of pulled back from that and went a little more action. It looks like in Dead Space 3 they're doing it even more. And I really love that about the first game, Like there was just like nothing you could do.
And then there's the whole co-op element that they're bringing.
They're adding a co-op
Yes.
element, and Isaac is coming more and more out of his shell with each game. In the first game, he was completely silent, didn't speak the entire game. And then in the second game, he starts talking. And now in the third game, he and his friend now are talking. I don't know the co-op guy's name.
I'm not sure what his name is either. I don't think they've released it.
No, they definitely have. He's a soldier. I just can't remember his name.
Just call him Joe.
There you go,
Yeah,
Joe.
Joe Soldier.
Joe Soldier. Is there anything that you guys want to add for Dead Space 3 before we move on to the next game?
Well, it's funny. It reminds me, the shift reminds me a lot of the, hearkening to film almost, the shift from Alien to Aliens. And I'm hoping that, in the same vein of Alien and Aliens, it will, it won't necessarily be worse than its predecessor. It'll just be different.
That was a clever little segue
That
of
was
yours.
convenient.
Thank you very
Our
much.
next game that we have coming up, we have a trailer for you guys, is Aliens Colonial Marines by Gearbox, who made the fantastic Borderlands games. So
Right
just
here.
check it out. Again, some technical difficulties. We didn't have any audio. So if you get the chance, you can go find it on YouTube, probably pretty easy. It's Aliens Colonial Marines is the name of the game, and just search for some trailers.
And then do the same thing for Dead Space 3. We're not sure what's going on in the studio.
Personally, I'm really excited about Aliens Colonial Marines, and I wasn't at all at first. I was like, oh, yeah, it's an Aliens game. Yeah, I like Aliens, but I didn't think that they were going to really do a whole lot with it. But then I was like, well, wait a minute, it's Gearbox, which is based in Plano, Texas. So very nearby. Root for the home team. They made the fantastic Borderlands games. Good old Wub over here. Like, I feel like like those guys are too good, except for the whole Duke Nukem fiasco, which we're not going to get into.
That game was doomed. The game was doomed on arrival.
Oh yeah, I don't blame them.
They just tried to get it over with.
Yeah.
They got handed a bad product. I don't blame them at all.
No, not at all.
I hold no grudge, but because like I've seen some live streams and stuff for this game, and it just looks really cool, man. Is there anything you wanna?
Well, I mean, it's funny because this is speaking of Duke Nukem. I mean, Gearbox has a history of gathering doomed projects. I mean, this is we're talking about a game that's been like started and restarted, canceled and restarted like upward to like 3 times now, for like 10 years. And I'm actually, I wasn't looking forward to it originally in any of those incarnations. Once Gearbox started releasing stuff, I actually got really fascinated. Especially, and like you said, Gearbox, Borderlands, I'm hoping for the best.
All right, man. Well, Jordan, thanks for coming in and talking to us. We'll be back after this break with a segment about tech. So stay tuned here on Campus Geek.